Now, we're joined now by Voice of America's Nova Purwadi in Washington, D.C. Hi, Nova. How are you?
Good morning, Indonesian time, Buan.
Hi. Nova, can you please tell us which states have now not been called?
Well, there are several states which have not been called or projected. And the interesting thing is, you mentioned earlier that Arizona had been called. Of course, several other agencies have called Arizona for Biden, but we at VOA haven't. Our map remains the same since this morning. You can see this map in full in voaindonesia.com. On our map, the projection is 253 for Joe Biden and 214 for Donald Trump. The states that haven't been called in our map is Nevada, Arizona, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, and also Alaska. Now, what's interesting is the focus of attention right now is Arizona and Nevada, because those states are nearing the completion of their count, but that remains to be seen in a few hours or later tonight at the fastest. And what makes it a little bit more complicated is Arizona, there's a 2-hour time difference there. So whereas it's now 7 p.m. Washington, D.C. time, it's still around 5 p.m. Local time. And Nevada is in Pacific time, Western time, West Coast time. So there's a 3-hour difference there. It's still around 4 p.m. So we'll have to see these two states. But if we get Arizona and then Nevada, we will perhaps get 270 on the side of Joe Biden. Now, right before I came to join you, President Donald Trump, the incumbent, had given his press briefing where he again reiterated his claim that the votes that are coming in are illegal, even though in reality these are mostly absentee ballots, mail-in ballots, and early votes that have only now started to be counted. This is his first appearance since election night. He hasn't been speaking to the public much or giving press briefings. He's been tweeting a lot, and a lot of his tweets, as you mentioned, has been given warnings by Twitter and also Facebook and other social media. And so conversely, Joe Biden has appeared several times. The latest was around 4 a.m. Western Indonesian time, where he spoke about the high coronavirus deaths in America, the continuing pandemic. And at the same time, he also reiterated what he said a day before, which was he didn't declare or claim victory, but he merely said that once all the votes are counted, be patient. We feel good about reaching the necessary 270 votes, Juan and Shanes.
Now, Nova, you mentioned earlier that, you mentioned just now that Biden and Trump both gave speeches, right? How are supporters of the both candidates reacting to what their, candidate is saying? How are, the Democratic supporters reacting to Biden? How are Trump supporters reacting to Trump's statement that you just said right now?
Well, you will see in several voting or places where the votes are being counted, demonstrators either for Trump or for Joe Biden. Joe Biden supporters are basically calling on all votes to be counted because these are actually votes that were already cast and only need to be counted, whereas the president's camp asserts that these ballots are somehow illegitimate or illegal. Now, of course, a lot of President Trump supporters are alleging that they are illegal, and so they are also voicing their support. This is an interesting development and certainly shows the polarization that's happening all over the U.S. even after this election. The Democrats have been hoping for a blue wave, starting with perhaps swinging Florida, then maybe North Carolina, then Texas. But that hasn't really happened as much. What has happened is both sides have maintained their leads in their usual strongholds. But the only thing that's changed compared to 2016 is Joe Biden has maintained his so-called blue wall in the Midwestern states of Minnesota and Wisconsin, and also perhaps also in the state where he was born, Pennsylvania. And what's interesting is in the last days of the campaign, Joe Biden basically focused on Pennsylvania. He did not try to broaden or try to sway some of the more swingy states. And this seems to have paid dividends in terms of his turnout of Democrats in Midwestern states. But it remains to be seen. As we mentioned, if Nevada and Arizona is a swing state now, apparently, if they turn blue, go into Joe Biden's column, then he doesn't actually need Pennsylvania. We also don't know yet the results in Georgia, where a lot of people in big cities, including Atlanta and Atlanta suburbs, are strongly supporting Joe Biden. Once those votes are counted, perhaps Georgia could turn blue. And North Carolina will need some more time. They're still accepting ballots and also counting later, and they will need at least a week. Pennsylvania, we could know by tomorrow, but certainly it's an interesting. It's going to be an interesting few hours, if not days. And also, there's the possibility of litigation, which President Trump has threatened in several states, including Wisconsin, where the margin of victory is under 1% on and Chanas.
Okay, Nova, we are still waiting for the result until now. How does this impact the outcome of the elections as far as electoral college votes?
Well, what's interesting is, on a normal election, you could already project the winner on the night of the election. This time we may have to wait for days. We have already waited for days. And then we could be waiting for weeks. Wisconsin, which I mentioned, the margin of victory was under 1%. So by law, the defeated side has a right to contest this and ask for a recount. Now, whether or not that recount results in a different result remains to be seen. Historically, that has never been the case. But in Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and several other states, Arizona as well, looks to have that kind of legal action. That could slow down the certification process, and it could go all the way up to the Supreme Court. But remember, the last time it went all the way up to the Supreme Court was 2000, and that was because it was so close in Florida, and it was all hanging on Florida. And this time, it may not hang on just one state, but actually several states. So the Trump campaign will try to litigate it, but it remains to be seen how they will be able to provide evidence of the voter fraud and the irregularities that they've cited as being the reason they are opposed to this continued count or tabulation of votes that are only now being tabulated.
Okay. Well, thank you, Nova, for joining us this morning. We appreciate your time and your insights to the U.S. election. I'm sure we continue to look up for more updates from you and the VOA team. Thank you.